Like what we've discussed earlier, the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission says it will take a year to remove all Philippine offshore gaming operators. The Bureau of Immigration also reported 11,000 ex-POGO workers still remain in the country. Now, this comes despite the government's POGO ban implemented on December 31. And today on Morning Matters, we are joined by Senatorial aspirant attorney Jimmy Bondoc to weigh in on this issue and to talk about his candidacy. Welcome to our show, Morning Matters.
Good morning, Gretchen, and thank you to Morning Matters.
Okay, so our story there, yung 11,000 POGO workers have not been deported. We're still looking for them. At sabi nga ni Winston Casio, ito ay nag-develop to smaller operations, naging BPO, ITM na sila. I mean, you've been in PAGCOR. What are your thoughts on this? How difficult is it to actually weed out these illegal POGO operations? And you did say in an interview that POGOs are not inherently harmful and may give social benefits if prepared correctly. I mean, your thoughts on that?
This is a very difficult issue, no? Because every time I speak about POGO, people might, yung mga operators dyan, hello, good morning. Baka they might make it look like I'm defending it. I have never defended POGO, ever, never. But my point is, this issue right now highlights what I said, that POGO is there. Illegal or legal, they will be there. I wish the government well, Bureau of Immigration, our police, na sana mahanap nila yung 11,000, mapaalis natin, you know. But it's hard because it's a big industry. Okay, so your question is, what are my thoughts here sa 11,000, no? Well, that just goes to show that it's not a PAGCOR matter. It is a police matter. Paano po natin sila mapapaalis without violating human rights? No? Yan ang number one. Number two, yung POGO, when I say it's not inherently bad, I'm not saying it's also inherently good. I'm just saying that it's neutral, it's an industry, call center siya. Nung kami po nagpapatakbo niyan, puro call center yan dito ang nagsusugal ibang bansa. Hindi talamak ang gambling sa Pilipinas. Ang nagsusugal, ibang bansa. Hindi lang China, ibang bansa, maraming bansa.
But this was also banned in other countries. Even Juan Ponce Enrile said that the president was ill-advised to actually allow this given the cost-benefit analysis na hindi lang yung pagsusugal, pati yung crimes nangyayari, yung torture, yung, ano pa ba, yung scamming, yung crimes committed inside the POGO compounds themselves.
Opo.
I mean, hindi nyo ba nakita yon that weighs heavy in terms of the cost-benefit analysis?
Is it still happening? That's my question. Yes. Was it happening? Yes. Was it happening long ago? Yes. Because bisyo ito. At ang bisyo, kung ako lang po ang masusunod, kung ako lang po ang Diyos, di sana tigil na natin. Sana po talaga mawala ang gambling. Pero habang nandyan siya, legal or not, magkakaroon po ng mga incidental or neighboring crimes. Kasi nandyan yung bisyo eh. So, yes, I would never speak against an Enrile, who am I, you know. Pero ang sinasabi ko lang is, may mga POGO operators na gustong ayusin yung kanilang pagpapatakbo at gusto magbayad sa gobyerno. Now, it is an administration question. Gusto ba nilang tumanggap ng buwis na tama dito sa mga maayos na POGO operators or hindi? That is their wisdom. I will not question that.
Okay, actually, that was a debate prior to the president declaring a ban on whether this could be actually regulated. But speaking of the president,
go ahead. Just a
ahead.
last comment on that. Kung ako po ang presidente at talagang gusto ko iba ng POGO, I wouldn't just stop taking their money. Kasi hindi yun ang be-all and end-all. I would crack down. Yung talagang police matter, talagang paalisin. Hindi yung may 11,000 pa rin. Nandito pa rin a year later. No? So, you stop taking their money, pero paalisin agad. Magkakabit yun.
Pero paano nga? Kasi yung kanina nga, pinag-uusapan pa lang namin, nahihirapan silang i-track yung operations. So, dahil digital na yan, no? Pwedeng sabihin nila na tumataya lang, kasi pag local,
they just
yung
change
bets.
their IP
Yun nga, ganun na nga.
They just change their IP addresses. Eto nga sa akin. Isn't that an excuse? Hindi ba kaya ng gobyerno na mas magaling ang mga hacker natin, mas magaling ang mga operator natin para paalisin sila? then it is a competency issue. So ang sa akin, tanggapin ninyo, kung hindi nyo kayang paalisin, pairali na lang natin ng tama. Pero mas gusto ko paalisin. O galingan
But
nyo yung
even with the
pagpapaalis.
legal operations, there were also a lot of illegal operations.
Well, yes, which is why you should find them, you should file cases against them. May proseso naman tayo. But that's what I'm saying. Ang sinasabi ko lang po bago tayo mag-change topic, it's a complicated matter and we really shouldn't judge the personalities behind it. It's very hard.
Okay, all right. Speaking of the president, we actually had our top story today with the president reacting to the quipping of former President Duterte killing 15 senators to make way for the others. At ito ang sabi ni PBBM over the weekend.
Makapatay tayo ng mga 15 na senador. Pasok na tayo lahat. Pero kawawa naman. Pero nakakainis kasi yung, hindi naman lahat. Pero, sabi nga, talking of opportunities, the only way to do it is to pasabugin na lang natin yung ano.
Narinig lang natin nung isang araw. Wala daw pag-asa. Siguro, kanina wala silang pag-asa. Kaya papatay na lang sila ng 15 na senador. Ay, talaga, bagay. Mahirap naman yung ibang tao. Ang iniisip lang nila, ang kaisa-isang solusyon sa lahat ng problema ay pumatay pa ng Pilipino.
Sabi niya, wala daw pag-asa siguro, wala silang pag-asa, kaya papatay na lang ng 15 senador. Sa bagay, mahirap naman ng ibang tao. Iniisip nila ang isang solusyon sa lahat ng problema ay pumatay pa ng Pilipino.
You know, Gretchen, nung simula pa lang ng campaign ko, I vowed na talaga magre-real talk lang ako. Win or lose, magre-real talk lang. So ito po ang real talk. This is my contribution to everybody sa ating political conversation. Wala po kayong narinig ngayon dyan na tao who meant what they said. Lahat po ito ay PR lamang. Do you really think the president, the former president, means it pagpapapatay siya ng mga senador? No? Lahat po ito is really just nagko-compete lang po sila ng lahat for your ears, for your attention dahil mahal po ang airtime. Kaya ang sa akin po, talagang tingnan ninyo ang history namin ng mga kumakandidato. Nothing more. I'm not asking for your votes. I'm just asking, suriin nyo na lang yung mga tao. Huwag na po kayo magpaloko sa mga ganyang PR. Luma na yan eh.
Well, the NBI actually recommended to file charges against the Vice President for a kill threat on the President, the House Speaker, and the First Lady. You are a lawyer. What do you think is the difference of her pronouncements, the Vice President's pronouncements, with the former President's pronouncements? Pareho silang nagsabi, nagpapapatay sila. Pero pag tinignan mo, pinut mo side by side yung dalawang statement na yon, sinabi ni VP, no joke, no joke.
Okay. Well, that's the difference. That's the difference. Yung kay Pangulong Duterte, I was there. That was our proclamation. And very clearly, it was a joke. Kasi even the way he said it eh. But again, I'm not defending anyone. Pero very clearly, it was a joke. Patayin na lang natin. Parang ganon, you know? At sinabi niya pa nga, binawi niya pa na, pero wag na, kawawa naman eh. Okay, so done. Done na yon. Yung kay VP Sara, seems less like a joke, no? Hindi siya joke. But I do go with the argument that it's a conditional threat. Parang sinasabi niya na pag namatay ako, patayin niyo to. Sa pandinig po ng iba, hindi talaga maganda. Sa pandinig ng iba, sa akin kasi sanay na ako sa ganyan eh. Pero if I were her lawyer, and she is a lawyer, I would go with that argument that it's a conditional threat because if you go strictly by the words, there was a condition. Ibig sabihin, I'm not gonna do it unless they kill me. Self-defense.
Well, actually, there's a whole debate about it. That,
Of course.
Iba yung conditional threat sa threat with condition.
Yeah,
Right?
narinig ko yan. No?
Oo, but we're not gonna get into that. It's
sila
gonna
na
take a
bahala dyan,
a full hour. But
Yes.
let's go to the impeachment trial of the Vice President, the looming impeachment trial. Your thoughts on the Senate taking this timeline, sinasabi ni Senate President na pagkatapos na raw ng SONA. Is that constitutional?
Again, it seems futile to discuss it because even people like former Justice Carpio and President Chis Escudero, iba-iba ang kanilang mga opinion. No? So, ano ba ibig sabihin ng proceed forthwith and all that? Pero ako, at the end of the day, impeachment is political. Sasabihin lang, hindi pwedeng mag-convene unless mag-special session si Presidente. But it's political. It's all political. Naloloko po tayo ng politika. So, ganito na lang. Kung yung ang ating legislators gusto talagang tanggalin si Ma'am Sara and they have the political will and they have the numbers, they have all the freedom to do so. Personally, I just think, awang-awa na ako sa bansang Pilipinas. Kasi that takes up everyone's attention, that takes up everyone's mind. Tapos, walang nangyayari sa presyo ng bigas. You know, ako talagang naaawa sa Pilipinas.
But don't you think that the investigation into the Vice President's use of confidential funds had merit in itself? Na paano nagastos yung 100 plus million in 11 days?
Yeah.
Mayroon nag-surface na Mary Grace Piatos na di mapaliwanag kung sino yon, wala rin sa PSA. And don't you think that investigation had merit in itself?
Well, that investigation is ongoing. Nandun siya sa COA, hindi po ba? And there was a joint circular ng COA naman, yung 2015-01, about the guidelines. And right now, sinusuri nila yung paggamit ng funds na yon according to those guidelines. Hintayin natin. Ang hamon ko po sa ating lahat, tingnan natin yung politika behind the investigation. Kasi lahat naman may confidential at intelligence funds. I'm predicting na buksan nyo lahat yan. You will find much more questionable ways of spending. Now, am I justifying na dapat absuelto si Ma'am Sara kung meron ding ibang gumawa? Hindi po. I'm saying, tingnan natin yung nature ng confidential funds. Kasi madalas po talaga dyan, maraming mga pseudonym, maraming mga fake names dahil ayaw natin masunog yung mga informant.
Pero ang sabi ni Vice President, ito ay nagamit dahil bago siya pumunta sa maglagay ng proyekto sa isang lugar, pinapa-survey niya muna.
Correct.
I mean, is that the proper use of confidential funds? Because pag sinabi ting confidential funds, usually these are related to security matters.
O, is that not a security matter? Kasi halimbawa, kahit sa negosyo, or bibili ka ng lupa, di ba titingnan mo muna, parang marami bang NPA dyan? It's the same thing. Or even, kunyari sa Department of Education, hindi natin alam na kung minsan yung mga teachers or yung mga students, they're open to the threats of being, recruited by communist organizations. Inaaral po ng DepEd yan. Lahat po ng government agencies, I've said this in a debate, ay may kinalaman sa national security. Nag-iiba-iba lang po yung degrees. No? Pero kunyari nasa DepEd ka, sasabihin mo walang national security concerns yan. Hindi po totoo
But
yun.
isn't that the
Meron.
mandate of the security agencies and not of the Vice President's office and not of the DepEd?
Well, I would like to invoke my few years of experience in government, 6 years to be precise, that even in PAGCOR, there are intelligence and confidential issues. No? Na kasi kapag po kayo ay nasa gobyerno, real talk po ako lagi ha, magalit man kayo o hindi. Kapag kayo ay nasa gobyerno, you're always on the line no, between order and chaos. No? Inaaral po natin lagi kung mag-i-invest ba tayo dito o hindi. Even internally po sa mga gobyerno, may mga espiya ko minsan. Is that not a security threat? So where do you get the funds to investigate that? Now, am I saying walang accountability? Hindi. Dapat may accountability. Kaya nga may COA circular to 2015-01.
But Congress also has power over the purse to
Yes.
make sure that funds are being spent the right way according to their
oversight.
appropriate function.
Yes?
So that means it's in their power also to open this
Of course.
and to investigate on how the confidential funds were used.
Absolutely. That's their power of oversight.
So why are you saying that this is political? I mean, it could be also,
Well,
I mean, the investigation having merit in itself.
yes, because we are, what you're asking me is what I think their intentions are. Di ba? Kasi iba-iba ang intention ng bawat kongreso sa bawat, it's case to case. Sometimes their intentions in some investigations, maganda. Nakikita ko na parang they're really just out for the truth.
But you agree that it is within their function to
Of course.
investigate on
Of course,
this?
that's constitutional.
Okay.
That's part of their oversight.
Speaking of how money is used, you filed you are one of those who filed graft and falsification charges to the Office of the Ombudsman on the insertions in the 2025 budget. What are your assertions here?
Well,
Why falsification charges?
yes, and
graft?
3019, Section 3E. Simplihan po natin. Napaka-komplikado ng budget process, no, yung pagpasa. No? Pero, merong blanco doon sa BICAM report, nagkaroon ng laman. At ang last touch ay sa House of Representatives, yung mga respondents sa aming kaso. So we filed charges kasi that's a case of res ipsa loquitur, no? The thing speaks for itself. Mga lawyers, alam po yan. Sino pa ba? Iyon po ang ibig sabihin ng res ipsa loquitur. Sino pa ba ang maglalagay kung di kayo? Dahil yung last touch po, the printing of that report papunta sa presidente ay sa House po nangyayari under the custody of the persons named.
But this happened in the BICAM, right?
No. Kasi galing sa BICAM blanco eh.
Oh, yung blanks nga.
Blanco, oo. But there's nothing wrong with blanks. Walang masama sa blanco. Well, masakit na may blanco na zero yun eh.
That were supposed to be filled in, right? Kasi ang argument nila, yung blanco nandyan, kino-compute pa.
Yeah, but that's their argument to make it look like
So
it's clerical.
what was falsified?
241 billion bigla ang naidagdag sa various projects ng Department of Agriculture and yung sa NIA irrigation, no? In short, ganito. Yung BICAM report is just a process of somewhere in the third reading. Somewhere in the third reading. Pero kailangan bumalik yan sa plenaryo, sa buong Kongreso, buong Senado, para lahat sila sabihin, o sige, yan ang amount na ilagay natin. They have to agree. Hindi, kasi the BICAM report is not a constitutional body to do that, no? So, pagdating sa plenaryo ng BICAM report, blanco pa din. Blanco pa din. So, ibig sabihin, zero na yan. Kung, linawin ko po, kung blanco yung BICAM report at blankong dumating yun sa presidente, no problem. Pero ang problema po, blanco yung BICAM report, biglang nagkalaman after the plenary at napadala sa presidente. Sino po ang naglagay?
So who is culpable?
Well, yung
who
mga,
are you tagging as culpable?
Si Speaker Martin Romualdez, Zaldico, kasi APRO siya, Manix Dalipe, at si current chair ng APRO na si Stella Kimbo.
Okay. I want to go to this controversial statement that you made in another media outlet, and this is regarding Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Ang sabi po ninyo, kaya ko sinusuportahan si Pastor Quiboloy dahil para sa akin siya ngayon ang mukha ng kawalan ng hustisya sa sistema ng Pilipinas. What did you mean by that?
I know we all have our differences, lalo na sa relihiyon. Kaya nyo po bang hiwalayin yon sa pagdating sa hustisya? Kasi kung kaya ninyo, then I am talking to you. Wala pong kinalaman sa relihiyon ang nangyari halimbawa doon sa KOJC siege. Walang kinalaman yun dyan. At that's injustice against him. Yung feeling ko abuse in the execution of the warrant. Ngayon, nakakulong siya, pero the charges have been dropped by the FBI. And there's one remaining case na mukhang ma-drop na rin. And yet, based on the same evidence, he is being detained here. Wala na po akong comment doon.
It's not just the FBI actually. It's also the Davao Court and the Pasig Court
Yes.
sending out warrants of arrest for him for qualified human trafficking and child abuse. So meron na po
Yes.
yan sa local courts natin.
Yes. You know, sub judice yan eh. Kasi may mga pinag-usapan po kami dati ni Pastor na ako'y medyo naliwanagan. Pero hindi ko rin kasi ma-discuss
Kaso
yung...
magkaibigan kayo ni Pastor Quiboloy?
No, we've met once. We've met once and this is it. It was a 2-hour conversation. So, bahala na po sila sa depensa nila. I
But why do you
focus
think
on the
there was
KOJC.
injustice here? I mean, these are actual legal cases filed against him. There are warrants of arrest. And those warrants of arrest are sent out now according to reasonable certainty of conviction, right? If that is the
Bagong
weight of
quantum.
the evidence. Bakit yung nasabi na injustice? Ito hindi ba parang sinerve lang naman? And if you're talking about serving justice, he should be able to face the music.
Yes.
if he is truly
You
innocent.
should. But again, you're asking me why I posted that. And I was really focused on simula pa ng KOJC. Kasi I was addressing the KOJC crowd when I said that. The proclamation rally. Yung nangyari po sa KOJC, talagang for me was a very egregious violation of human rights. No? So, even just focusing on that, that's already parang sampal yun sa separation ng church and state, sa human rights. Just focusing on that. Kasi pagdating dyan sa mga kaso na yan, I would love to get into it, but magkukulang po ang isang oras natin.
No, but separating that is a totally different case altogether.
I don't think so, because it's injustice.
Dahil iba yung kaso niya sa naging paghabol sa kanya dun sa compound. Yung kaso niya mismo, don't you think that,
But isn't that injustice altogether? That's
why is it injustice altogether? Weren't they trying to serve justice by sending out the warrants of arrest for the victims who actually filed cases
Yes.
in courts?
Hindi, siguro ganito. To quickly settle the issue, kasi ayaw kitang kaaway, masyado kang maganda eh. yung
Kamawawala na tayo ng oras.
Hindi, totoo
Konti
naman
na
eh.
lang.
Totoo naman eh. Nakakabighani yung mata mo eh. So ganito na lang. Let the courts decide this. Okay lang yon. Although I hope they would set bail soon. Because bailable naman yung mga kasong, most of the cases na filed against him eh. In fact, I think he has a bail hearing very soon. So, ang totoo kong intent, tinatanong nyo kung ba't ko sinabing face of injustice, I was addressing the KOJC crowd nung sila ay pinasok. That is the core of that
That's the
statement.
context of that
That's
statement.
the context of that
Okay,
statement.
let's go now to you running with PDP Laban.
Yes, proudly so.
How did you get close to the former president?
Anong campaign pa nung 2015 before the 2016 elections. And it's literally the power of song. Very proud of that. Because I wrote a song for him eh.
Okay.
Ayaw niya tumakbo, so tumakbo ako. Gumawa ako ng kanta na entitled Takbo to encourage him to...
You said you align with the Duterte principles.
Yes.
What are those principles?
Well, it's ulit-ulit, anti-criminality, anti-corruption, anti-drugs. Kasi like, I may sound like palaban sometimes, but I'm really seeking peace, even with your friends and mine. And hinahanap ko lagi kung saan ba tayo mag-agree. Even about Duterte, can we not agree about certain things?
Do you agree on the way he carried out his drug war?
Yeah. And again, hahaba na naman yung issue na yan, the state-sponsored ba yung mga ibang killings, etc., etc. But honestly, if you go around now and you ask people if they feel safer now or if they felt safer then, the common answer, really non-political, they really just felt safer during the Duterte.
But we are talking about 6,200 recorded deaths and yun lang ang sinabi ng PIDEA in the anti-illegal drug
Yes.
war. Talking about...
State-sponsored?
May kapalit yun.
State-sponsored?
They feel safe but merong tayong
State-sponsored or not proven yet?
6,200 allegedly. I mean, this is...
State-sponsored?
We're talking about a state-sponsored drug war.
Kasi the question is, if the killings were state-sponsored, yun lang lagi ang tanong.
And
They have to
Duterte,
prove
President
that in court.
Duterte said he actually told police to encourage criminals to fight back.
Yes, but which he has taken back many times. Lahat tayo victims naman ng paganon-ganon niya ng mga...
But he actually acknowledged he had a Davao Death Squad that sometimes
Which he
were
has disowned.
composed of.
Which he has disowned.
Hindi ba parang magulo
Tamo,
yun?
nag-aaway na tayo, tapos gumaganda
Hindi
ka
ba
lalo.
magulo yun? I mean, you are a lawyer.
Yeah.
You studied 4 years
Yes.
about the Constitution. And here we have a drug war
Okay.
that is taking the law in its own hands.
Okay, to be serious, here's the problem. We are trying it all based on public pronouncements, which is not bad. Pero we really have to try it on evidence. Ang problema kasi sa public pronouncements, may halong politika, may halong pangangampanya, may halong bilang presidente, tinatakot niya ang mga taong bayan, yung mga masasama. That's part of his management style. And for me, it worked. To some, it's distasteful. Okay, let's agree to disagree. So let's go to the law. Nasaan yung ebidensya? File it in court and then make him accountable for it. Sure, go ahead. As long as it's in our courts. Basta wag ICC.
But don't
Okay.
you think it is difficult to actually have a credible investigation because we're talking about
No.
law enforcement here who
Yeah,
takes
here.
care the PNP investigating on its own
Yes,
ranks.
but NBI just recommended filing charges against VP Sara, right? So ibig sabihin, kapag panig sa gusto natin, naniniwala tayo sa prosecutorial service. Pag hindi tayo naniniwala sa prosecutorial service. Bakit ganon? It's either we believe in our prosecutorial and judicial processes or not. So, let's put faith in our system para maging tunay na Pinoy naman tayo, na maniwala naman tayo sa sistema natin. We are a sovereign nation. Matagal natin pinaglaban yan. Let's stick,
Jimmy,
stick
Attorney
to it.
Jimmy, nako mukhang wala na tayong oras. No?
Oo, hindi tayo nag-away, ah.
Hindi tayo nag-away. Para tayo atinista. No? The next time we'll have, hope to have more of you. But saan ka namin naabangan? I mean, everybody who is looking out to, where will you campaign?
Oh, just follow my social media accounts because that's all I can afford.
All right, thank you so much. We have Senatorial aspirant, PDP Laban candidate, Attorney Jimmy Bondoc
God bless
joining us
everybody.
on Morning Matters today.